California, where the right to reproductive freedom is protected. I'm feeling very grateful to be in the state that I'm in, but completely devastated for the communities across the United States.
The South is my home. It's where I was born and raised, where I've lived for most of my life. And I am terrified for people in my community who will likely no longer be able to access the care that they need in our state.
My heart goes out to all of the patients who will be directly impacted by today's ruling, especially patients that are already marginalized in our healthcare system. Black patients, Latinx patients, LGBTQ+ patients, Indigenous patients, low socioeconomic patients. I could go on. I really could go on.
This ruling is causing me to think about all the patients who I saw this week who told me that they had to wait until payday to access their abortion, and who now don't have access. Yeah.
At this time, I'm angry. I'm angry that the rights and the autonomy for my patients have been stripped away from them. But I'm also driven. I'm driven to keep showing up for my patients and to keep providing this care and to keep fighting, because this is our basic human right, healthcare.
And I'm specifically thinking about a patient sitting on labor and delivery right now at 20 weeks along in her pregnancy with a very highly desired pregnancy, who is finding out information about how poor the prognosis for her pregnancy is right now. And luckily, because we're in Oregon, I'll be able to take care of her no matter what her decision is and support her every step of the way. And yeah, feeling really lucky to be in Oregon and feeling really sad for the people and my colleagues who are elsewhere in the country who are going to start seeing the effects of this immediately.
Staff have come into the clinic, and only one of my staff said, "Oh my God, I need to get my tubes tied because I don't know when our laws are going to change in North Carolina, and even though I have good birth control, I just can't be pregnant, and I'm afraid." I heard another staff member say, "Oh my God, I really need to make sure I take my birth control." I think there's just this heaviness here.
We are anticipating that more patients will be traveling to Pennsylvania now that the SCOTUS decision is finalized. The staff, the compassionate nurses and assistants, and administrative folks that I work with, everyone's heartbroken today. Everybody's outraged today, but we'll keep fighting.
You know, I am lucky enough to be in a state where abortion access is protected. And I know that means that the reality of abortion isn't going to change hugely for my patients, but it does mean that I'm going to be seeing patients from other states. Every single state that borders Illinois is poised to already restrict or severely limit access to abortion. And that means those patients are going to be coming to seek care with us here in Illinois.
It's difficult to know that this is where we are in this country in 2022, where over 50 years of precedent seems meaningless, although we know it's not.
This is a devastating ruling for half of the nation, and it highlights the inequities in our government and in healthcare. But we will remain steadfast in our commitment to take care of people and their bodies.
Hey there, good to be with you. Well, earlier today, President Biden called the court's decision a sad day for the court and a sad day for the country, while also calling on Congress to pass meaningful legislation to try to restore some of the things that Roe v. Wade provided. Meanwhile, the implications from this decision will impact tens of millions of women across the country, especially those in several GOP-led states where trigger laws are in effect.
This decision must not stand!
Protesters erupted outside the Supreme Court after the justices ruled to overturn Roe v. Wade.
I kept hoping for the best, but it's clear that these justices don't care about the majority of Americans and their voices.
This is going to be like history. This is just the beginning of, the pro-life generation, being there for women, for the unborn.
Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito said the Constitution does not confer a right to abortion, Chief Justice John Roberts joined the other 5 conservatives in upholding Mississippi's abortion ban, but wrote he would have stopped short of overruling Roe outright.
It's a sad day for the court and for the country.
President Biden called the decision wrong and extreme.
Now, with Roe gone, let's be very clear. The health and life of women in this nation are now at risk.
The court's 3 liberals agreed, writing they dissented with sorrow for the many millions of American women who have today lost a fundamental constitutional protection. The court's ruling wasn't a surprise. It had been forecast several weeks ago following a leaked draft indicating which way the justices were leaning. The decision is expected to lead to abortion bans in roughly half the states.
This decision is a victory for the pro-life movement and for the generations of Americans who never gave up hope.
The ruling puts the court at odds with a majority of Americans. CBS News polling found 2/3 wanted the court to leave Roe v. Wade in place, as it has been for nearly half a century.
And we talked about those trigger laws that will ultimately outlaw abortions in most cases. Well, several abortion providers across the country have either canceled their appointments for today or closed altogether. Meanwhile, happening outside of the Supreme Court today, thousands of people on both sides of this issue continue to pile outside of the High Court after this seismic decision. We're here outside of the Supreme Court. I'm Skyler Henry. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Skyler. And our team coverage continues here in Houston. Rallies are planned on both sides of the issue. Melissa Correa joins us live near downtown. Melissa.
Hey there, Ron. A rally in support of abortion rights set to happen at 6:30 this evening in downtown's Tranquility Park, which is just across the street from Houston City Hall. This is going to be the latest rally in support of abortion rights. Just last month, thousands of people packed Discovery Green, also in downtown, protesting that leaked Supreme Court draft that suggested today's overturn of Roe v. Wade was coming. In that crowd, Houstonians disappointed in today's reversal. We're talking about women who rallied for a woman's right to choose more than 50 years ago. We're talking about young people who believe the right to abortion comes down to the right to privacy and choice in America. Planned Parenthood, one of the most well-known abortion rights advocacy groups, is
Family businesses struggled to keep their doors open, and many were forced to close after missing out on federal COVID relief money or when it ran out. One Marietta man allegedly spent millions of taxpayer dollars on cars and luxury. John Schierick explains how he reportedly got rich quick and then lost it all.
This is just one of the luxury purchases that Atlanta federal prosecutors say a fraudster in Cobb County bought with stolen taxpayer money last year. Money meant for struggling business owners who were trying to stay open through the pandemic. But prosecutors say a con artist fooled Uncle Sam out of millions of dollars in Paycheck Protection Program money and spent $1.6 million of it to buy himself this 9,000 square foot property in East Cobb County this past June. The suspect, seen here on his LinkedIn account, claiming to be a pilot, Carl Torjagbo. This week, a federal grand jury in Atlanta indicted Carl Torjagbo, accusing him of fraudulently obtaining a total of $9.5 million in PPP money from the government last year. Prosecutors say as soon as Torjagbo got the money, he went to work spending it on himself, for homes, and for a $118,000 2022 BMW like this one, and for an $87,000 2021 Range Rover like this one. everyone. During the past 2 years, we have followed the owners of small businesses across Metro Atlanta who were at risk of going under during the pandemic, unable to get the PPP money that could help them.
And unfortunately, all the funds were already depleted. I just have to rely on some of my personal savings account to keep our staff on and to keep the doors open.
I was not able to pay my staff. The PPP we got was not enough.